I'm back in the main pond today. It's difficult sometimes. You can find yourself being distracted by the little fish, um, and in danger of neglecting the big ones, I think, because they're a bit more resilient, look after themselves, and I think possibly the pond just looks after itself better once it's more established. Whereas the little guys, I think it's a bit of both actually. It's kind of, they need a little bit more care and attention, but also they're really interested in the little tiny fish. So yeah, my little fish are fine, all good, doing their thing. So yeah, I'm just making sure that I'm looking after the big guys, and they are looking pretty happy. I did just come in and I realised that I'd not okay, get a little bit of food. Oh, the auto feeder was empty. They didn't look very happy about it. I think that's probably the first time I've left the auto feeder to actually run down. So usually they have a feed at 5 in the morning. So I've just come in around 8 o'clock. They look starving, which clearly they're not, because they are fed 6 times a day on the feeder and then a few extra bits from me. So they get loads of food. They actually packed on a lot of weight actually, and growth. It's really good to see. What I'm doing here is I've got a bucket full of food. It's the same food that I'm using in my auto feeder, which you just saw me topping up. But it's actually now about 60% sinking, 40%. I'm going to get the percentages all wrong here. It's mostly, let's go with that, it's mostly sinking food. So there's a bit of floating there, and when I say floating, let's say 60% sinking, 40% floating, but the floating isn't just one pellet. It's a few different sizes, a little bit of Nutrimare, a little bit of Coppams. The bigger ones are Coppams, the smaller ones are Nutrimare. And there's also mealworms in there as well. So I mix all the mealworms, and then I've got a sinking pellet as well that I've added into the mix at 60%. Now the reason I've done it at 60% is because the higher percentages of floating, they were all over the surface, crashing around, and just going crazy, you know. I think they're really enjoying their food, which is great, but you don't want them to injure themselves. And because it was coming out of the auto feeder over there, there was a little bit of a danger of them splashing, whacking each other up against the sides, etc. So, and I think what you've got to remember is when you're using the auto feeder, 9 times out of 10, you aren't there when it goes off. So when it's going off at 5, 6 in the morning, I'm not down here. So it doesn't really matter whether it's floating or sinking. Actually, they really love the sinking food, so I've put more in. And I think what that does, it gives them a really nice balance to be able to all head down to the bottom to feed, and also there's some still floating around on the surface that if they're still hungry, if they don't get the sinking, they can come back up if they feel brave. And if they're a little bit more hungry, some of the smaller ones, they can just chip away at the stuff on the surface. I think that's worked really, really well, and something I'm going to stick with, I think, for now. I think one thing I have noticed is the water temperature. Well, not just water temperature, the weather has changed drastically. The last week really, it's been quite drastic. Temperatures dropped down. I noticed it straight away through filling up the water. So my tap water was freezing cold. I didn't check the temperature of it, but I could just tell it was freezing. And that's not good, especially if you're doing a reasonable top up. You'd be surprised how much the water temperature coming in through your tap could potentially put a bit of a chill on the water overall. So it's worth just considering doing small filter changes, small top ups. Nothing too big, nothing too drastic, because I really think that will have an impact on your water temperature, and it takes a long time to come back up again. And obviously I don't think the fish enjoy it either. So I've been sat at about 24 degrees, 24, 25, consistently throughout the summer months, which has been great. I'm completely unheated, so that's just been ambient temperature and solar gain through the roof. So it's been getting up to probably 40, 45 in here with solar gain, which is boiling hot, but amazing for the fish. They've loved it. But rather than the water temperature going through the roof, it's been quite stable. I think some of that is possibly because of water changes. That helps to, that's been bringing the water temperature down a few degrees. So I think I hadn't done as many water changes as I had. I think probably temperature could have gone up a bit higher, but it didn't, so it's good. But now looking at it today, with the temperature dropping outside and in here, the pond temperature's gone down to, not straight away, but over the last couple of days, it's dropped down to 18. So I'm sat at 18 now, which is fine. I prefer if it was a little bit warmer, but yeah, outside temperatures have really dropped, mostly at night time. So I think these guys are just now starting to just slow down a little bit. I think 18 is a nice temperature, but it's definitely, you can see it, they're just starting to slow down a little bit. If you're on an auto feeder, just have a think about maybe knocking it back a little bit, slow it down a bit if you're not heated. If you have seen your pond temperatures drop, I think just think about taking it back a little bit less food. Definitely feeling autumnal now, and I think when I look at the fish, I can tell that they are almost coming into their peak on their colours. So the last couple of weeks, as the temperature's been, well, not the last couple of days, as the temperature's been dropping down, a couple of the fish, there's one, where is he? There's one in here. It's a he shower. My boy bought it year before last, so he's 2 years old. Got him from a little tiny tiddler. He's named him. I think he's probably one of the only ones that's got a name in there. Nico, his name is, and I think it's like a YouTuber or something, Cash and Nico. So not a fish YouTuber, just a game YouTuber, I think. So he's called Nico, and over the last couple of, I'd say the last week, is the red, the Benny has just popped so bright. Really, it almost looks a bit metallic. It's just shining. Looks really good. Really smart. And I can notice it in a couple of the others as well. They look like they're in good nick. The other thing I was wanted to just talk about is on the last video, if you haven't seen that, have a little look. It was a very quick update on sodium thiosulphate, which was crystal product. So if you can see that, sodium thiosulphate. So it's just a crystal you can use to dechlorinate your water. So it's funny when you do this stuff, you forget what you wanted to talk about. And I think probably when I was talking about that sodium thiosulphate, I wanted to just highlight how cheap and effective it was, which hopefully came across. But there is a few things you need to understand about it. It is taking out the nasty stuff, but it breaks it down into different compounds, I suppose you could say. So if it's just chlorine, it's going to take it out of your water completely. If it's chloramine, and again, I'm not no expert, but a few people told me if it's chloramine, it will actually convert it to ammonia, which is not, not necessarily avoidable, but something you just need to be aware of. If you chuck a load of that stuff in and and you do have chloramine in your tap water, I don't have chloramine, so I've only got chlorine, so that stuff works perfect for me. Chuck it in, chlorine's gone, got a nice a nice conversion from my tap water to pond, taking out not just chlorine but some of the heavy metals as well, so copper, lead and mercury. I think if you have chloramine in your water, your tap water, you got to think about it. You got to do things a little bit more differently. And I think if you've got that in there and you chuck some of this sodium thiosulphate in, it will convert it to ammonia. And then you've got to break that ammonia down. So yeah, it's just worth being aware of that. I'd hope that just I suppose if you've got chloramine in your tap water, get some pre-filters, try and do as much as you can, carbon. But I think if any of it does still get into your pond, being aware that you could have a bit of a rise of ammonia might mean that you reduce your feeding after you've done a filter change. It could be that you're just more aware, so you know that could happen. You need to be aware that your filter needs a little bit of time just to convert that. It's not something I have to worry about, but I imagine if you have got chloramine in your tap water, then it's quite annoying, and it is worth thinking about. I think I'd probably rather use the sodium thiosulphate to take the chloramine out than trying to address that slight lift or spike in ammonia. I think I'd rather do it that way. But I think maybe if that is you, just think about the amount of the water you're changing so that the spike of ammonia isn't very high. So small water changes more regularly might be beneficial. But anyway, I just think that stuff, the crystals, is really good, really cheap. I think if you were someone who's new to the hobby that just puts tap water into your pond, then that stuff is cheap and easy to get hold of. So I'd recommend, for a small cost, it's worth using some of that. It's safe to use. You can put quite a lot of it in. You don't need to necessarily be an expert. So it just helps to really neutralize your tap water regards to some of the nasties. And I think if you were new to the hobby, I think that would be better than just putting tap water straight in and doing nothing. Got loads of mint floating around on the pond here. So there's a big clump of it's spearmint, I think, over the other side, or peppermint. I'm not sure what it is, but they're definitely chipping away and eating it. It's mint, right? So it's going to be good for them. Smells nice, that's for sure. They look quite happy at the moment, which is nice. So yeah, I just wanted to talk quickly about the fact that we're coming into autumn. It's quite an exciting time. I like this time of year. For me, it's harvest. So it's it starts off with going to some of the koi farms like Aragoke Koi. Just been distracted by a chagoi, and I can see there's some sumi coming up on him, which I can't remember what that's called, but if that continues, That could be quite cool. Is it Chayatzuri? I think it is Chayatzuri. I'm going with that. You can correct me if you want, but I think that's what it is. It's funny, isn't it, how you buy fish sometimes and then they just completely change, and what you bought isn't what you ended up with. There's a white fish over here. It's Matsu Kawabaki, and it's got sumi's just come out of nowhere. I've got another, I think it's a Komomryu. It's the Komomryu, or yeah, it must be. It started off white. It's now completely black. You can't even see it. It's got a little bit of white on the fins. Other than that, completely black. But it wasn't like that when I bought it. So really interesting. I've got another fish over here as well with like, I'm not going to say long fin, because it's definitely not a long fin, but it's got pectoral. I'm not saying anything bad about people that have got long fins. Each to their own. If you like long fins or tamasabi, you crack on. Goldfish even, it's all nice and interesting to watch. But this one's got like on his pectoral fins, it's got like a little extra fin coming out. I don't know what that is. Let me know if you do know what that is. It looks different, that's for sure. So yeah, so this time of year is really nice. I love it. Unfortunately, it is a time in which the farm shops, they all want to kind of get rid of their this year's stock, get it all gone. So there's lots of deals to be had at the moment, and then they're looking to get all their new stock in, or if it's a farm, they're looking to empty out all their mud ponds and their stock that they've grown on. So it's exciting for me because it starts with places like Cuttlebrook. They bring in some of their B grade fish from the mud ponds. They do their selections. They leave their A grade stuff out in the ponds, and then they'll bring it all in and do harvest day, which we had a couple of weeks back, which was good. Did a little video on that. And then now we're going into this period where we're getting some of the other koi farms and dealers, shops, bringing in their new stock. So I'm looking forward to the New Forest Koi harvest period. We've got Koi Tuber Fest coming up, which is going to be great, organised by Twisted Koi. Vince, if you haven't checked him out, go and check him out. And yeah, that's going to be good. The problem is I know that I won't be able to go without buying some fish. So yeah, that'll be fun. I'm going to be very selective though, and just pick probably a couple of more expensive fish. I'm going to try and stay away from all the little tiddlers, although I do love buying a little one and growing it on. So we'll wait and see what they've got. Wait and see what they've pulled out this year. It's always exciting. Yeah. So keep an eye on your fish. Get out there. Make sure that you are considering the water temperature, considering how much food you're putting in. Maybe reduce it a little bit if you're unheated, like me. Yeah, and just try and enjoy it. Just take the time to look at your fish at this time of year, because they are getting to the point where their autumn colours are really coming through. It's the best time of year for koi. The richness in their colour and the luster in their skin. This is the peak point in which they've fed all year. They've come through the spring. They've fed all season, all summer, and then this time of year, I don't know what it is. They just seem to just chill just a little bit, and the quality of their colours, the skin, all just comes through. I think probably this would be the right time to do koi shows as we get into the more colder months. I think that's when the Japanese do koi shows for that reason. It's definitely the peak of their, I say performance, but the peak of their, don't know what it is. The word will come to me in a minute. But it's just the point in which they look the best. So yeah, get out there, enjoy your pond, enjoy the fish looking at their best. Just think about water temperatures and the tap water. It's freezing cold, really cold. I need to check it. I should have really done a temperature check so I could have told you how cold my tap water was. But I just noticed it the other day. Stick your hand in it, whatever you want to do, but just appreciate that stuff coming through the tap is a lot colder. They might be changing some of the chemicals in it as well, so just keep on top of stuff. Make sure your fish will tell you. These guys are certainly looking happy and healthy at the moment, so over and out from me. Go and enjoy your ponds. I've still got to do a bit of work to tidy up this whole area really. I've got to put some flooring down, I've got to do the sides. I think it will be something I do. I'm not rushed, I'm not rushing it. One, I've run out of money. The wife is not impressed. No, actually, I'm joking. Absolutely fine. But yeah, I need to just think about what I'm going to do. I only want to do it once, so it does need a little bit more work, more stuff to be done here. So yeah. But anyway, if you can do me a favour, I am slowly creeping up on my subscriptions, which is quite interesting to watch. I really like watching them tick up. There's no science behind it. It's just whether you guys decide to subscribe or not, depending on what you're watching. It might have been one of my previous videos, or it could be this one. But yeah, I think I'm 3 away from 400 at the moment. So if you want to go and hit subscribe, take me over the 400 mark, I'll be pretty chuffed with that. I think hitting 400 subscribes is quite a cool place to be. Quite happy with that. And yeah, just keeps me motivated to do a few more. It's quite entertaining. Right, and do one more little feed. Let's try and find the surface fish. The surface pellets. Here we go. I'll chuck these pellets in and I'll just leave them to have a little munch. What you can't see is all the fish that are now heading to the bottom. You can see all the ones on the top darting about, splashing away. It's funny, it's like the chagois, the crashigois and the achibas are mostly the ones that are feeding off the surface. I don't know if that's just because they're more hungry or whether they like feeding off the surface, but mostly the others all head down to the bottom. I think it might be because the chagois are the biggest, and it's quite hard to compete with them when they're up on the surface like that. So all the other guys are all heading down to the bottom, but the food's not even touching the bottom. They're getting it before it even hits the bottom. So thanks for watching. Get out in your ponds, do what you need to do, get ready for the colder months. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to probably put something over the top of this just to try and keep down the condensation, but I haven't had any issues yet. I just know I will. So I might put something across, but it's a big old pond, 6 meters by nearly 3. So I think that would cost an arm and a leg to put polycarbonate over it. So I'll have to work something out, but I might just see how it goes. Might try and put a double skin on the surface, see if that might help. Either way, I'll keep you posted. But yeah, over and out for now. Thanks for watching.